What would happen if you could stop worrying so much about what your team was doing all day and instead focus in on what you're supposed to be doing to move your business forward? Sounds like a dream, but right now you're living the nightmare of having to overcoach, over-handhold, and over-check in on your team's work. Let's put an end to that and instead roll out super clear 5-hour work plans, drum beats, and more of my signature tools that drive accountability and self-sufficiency deep into your team. All you have to do is join a Leadership Lab program, and I'll help you turn your team troubles into triumphs. You'll be learning and growing alongside some peers that will become valuable business friends. So why not go beyond this podcast and join us? It could be the smartest thing you do this year. Book a call with me and see what program would best fit you over at the website, stackingyourteam.com/programs. Hello, leader. What if a high-performing team member suddenly announced that they need some extended time away from the business? What would you do? As a small business owner, you've got to be prepared for your team members to have life changes that may require them to step out of the business for a while. Babies, weddings, travel, school, a family member's health challenge, or even elder care are all moments that may touch your team member in a big way, and they'll need you to support them while the business needs are met too. So let's talk about it. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've worked with so many business owners over the years, and they all have the same secret to spill when we first meet. They have team troubles. Yes, it's a secret they've been keeping for a long while because most of their peers and family don't believe them. You see, from the outside, everything looks fabulous. They've built a wonderful reputation, a strong following of delighted clients and customers. They've created a brand that resonates with people, and the proof is in their revenues. But the truth is, they're struggling to lead people, and they've pretty much been around the block and back with team turnover. They admit that they're proud of the small business they've built, and yet at the same time, they're so tired of trying to grow without an agile team who are happy to work alongside them. They know that they need a team, but not just any team. And just like you, they're ready to learn how to lead in such a way that fits their perspective as a woman who owns a business, runs a second shift on the home front, and wants to create a legacy for their family and community for years to come. So let's hold hands and jump in together with today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Have you been thinking about how to get some quality support for you and your team without it taking up a massive amount of time? You're already doing so much for the business, your team, your clients, and of course your family. Oh, and I see you supporting your local community too, showing up for a wonderful cause that you chose to support in a big way. It's a lot. I'm here to help. You won't have to figure things out on your own. Instead, I'll be here to teach you and give you the tools that you'll then plug right into your business and your team operations. It's time you took back your time and allowed yourself to work on the aspects of the business that have been patiently waiting for some attention from you. You're invited to apply to join the Leadership Lab programs or ask me for some custom support. Visit the website, stackingyourteam.com for details, and then book a call with me. I'd love to learn more about you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode with me. And hey, did you know that the team that got you here might not be the team that gets you there? Life, it gets in the way of living sometimes, doesn't it? You can be on a roll and then wham, something comes up and stops you in your tracks. Even the good stuff can derail you when you don't have a plan, didn't think about the future, or kept your head down, never looking up at what might be heading your way. When your team members' lives get in the way of your progress at the business, it can be a serious derailment too. Babies, weddings, travel, school, a family member's health challenge, or even elder care are all moments that may touch your team member in a big way, and they'll need you to support them, while the business needs are met too. So what should you do? Well, first off, having a high-performing team member request considerable time off is a project that requires just as much planning and care as any other project that you'd support. Maybe even more, because your team member is a person who has been incredibly committed to you. So here's your chance to show your commitment to them. Now, in an ideal world, you wouldn't be reacting to this request for extended time off with dismay. Instead, you'd react joyfully because your primary emotion would be to support the person first, and any concerns for the business would be secondary. So today, I'm here to prompt you to start building in operational excellence, those factors that would support anyone leaving the business without any anxiety about the business imploding without them. Many small businesses have massive setbacks when a high achiever or a highly billable person, I like to call them rainmakers, leave or step out of the business for a pre-planned time. Sometimes it's those unexpected life crises that happen, and they're needed elsewhere to focus on something or someone. So let's set up your business for these situations, starting today by embracing this concept. People-driven businesses are risky. Process-driven businesses are safer. Safe from implosions, safe from disruptions, safe from burnout, and safe from breaking. Here's why. When we have someone or a few people who have all the key information in their heads, instead of it being documented and easily stored and found by others, the probability of something going terribly wrong is high. You see, if that person who knows the code for this and the procedure for that and the name of the guy who fixes the thing and the location of the banking information is suddenly ill, your business is at a standstill, and that's going to be painful. Successful small businesses are process-driven, not people-driven. It's as simple as that. And yet, it can take some work to get everything set up to ensure that no one person is key to the dependability of a profit center, a department, your back-end operations, or the front-facing procedures of your client care. Here's what you'll need in order to confidently support your team member to step out of the business for an extended period of time and not have their absence negatively impact the business. Here's your checklist. Number 1, choose a backup person and then a backup to the backup. This starts by planning a cross-training profile for each person on your team and then executing that plan. The selection of who will be cross-trained would include looking as much as possible to create a like-for-like scenario by choosing people with the same or similar qualifications. Your plan can also include the opportunity to cross-train someone who wants to gain those skills. Maybe that person would be the backup to the backup. Now, cross-training activities work best when they're ongoing, not simply just in time to support the last day of the person leaving. It helps to continually schedule in time each month for your team members to keep current on skills and tasks so that it's not a big stretch to slide in to a backup role for a day, a week, or even longer if needed. Of course, in order to ensure that cross-training is effective, you'll want to have stellar documentation, SOPs, workflows, and some digital training opportunities too. Making sure these trainings and troubleshooting guides are easily accessible also matters. Having a secondary person, that backup to the backup, also helps add even more agility to your team. Next thing you'll need to do to ensure your confidence is high to have your high performer leave for a bit is this. Number 2, create a workload redeployment plan. Now, this includes planning in advance what the workload adjustments need to be put into place prior to the person leaving and then during their absence. Because too often, workload coverage is based on assumptions. And then reality sinks in and the whole plan needs to be revised. So deciding how to create a balanced work plan for someone who's doing their normal duties, plus the duties of another person, takes a bit of finesse and, of course, input from the person who's taking on all of this. You'd also want to think about compensation. Your backup person may ask you about it, and you'll want to be prepared with an answer. Now, there may not be any adjustments to their compensation, especially if you choose someone that has that like-for-like capabilities. However, if the backup person needs to stretch their capabilities, consider a bump up in pay for this time period. The next thing that you'll need to do to ensure your confidence is high to have your high performer leave for a bit is this. Number 3, create your communication plan. Now, this will include informing the team, your clients that will be impacted, and any other partners or vendors that need to know. And depending on the situation, you'd want to uphold confidentiality of the team member who's been requesting the extended leave. Check with them to get aligned as to what information they're comfortable with you sharing. Now, if this person is going off to have a baby, it will likely be noticeable and joyful to communicate, but not all situations will be. The intention of the communication plan is to assure your team and their clients know that there is a plan. Your team will want to know how they can get help and who they can go to for help in this person's absence. Your clients will want to know that their services will not be interrupted and the person who will be caring for them is a great match. It's a big undertaking for a peer to step in and cover for another. It builds respect and trust, and when you start the redeployment plan early, it will help to support both of your team members. Throughout the time frame that one person is covering for the other, you'll want to create some drumbeats to provide them time to share any updates, ask questions, or suggest any other adjustments to their workload. Having continual improvement projects that lead to operational excellence is your competitive advantage. It'll be your competitive advantage in your business, regardless of how big your business is or how long you've been open. It's those improvements that lead to consistency that undoubtedly reduce the risk of anything imploding because the key person is not available to oversee something and maintain the results. So when you take action to build your business on a foundation of goals and action plans that bring your continual improvement projects to life so that your operations are process-driven instead of people-driven, it will ease your worry of team members coming to you needing time off, including any other kind of team turnover. Planning for the return of your team member also matters, and you'll have to take into consideration how to ease them back into their role. They'll also want to be a part of the transition plan to take back responsibilities from their backup peer in such a way that demonstrates their appreciation for what they did for them while they were away. One more thing to recognize is that your team is watching you. They're looking out for how you address this request for extended time off, and they're also watching to see how thorough the plan is. And there's no doubt about it, they are watching to see how difficult the plan, the workload, and the pace is for the backup here, and how they feel about it. Your leadership through this matters because it demonstrates that the team can be agile and can support the needs of people who make up the team. It also confirms your commitment to each person as they grow through the various stages of their own development and their life. So as we close out today's episode, here's a few steps that you can take to apply what you just learned here on the podcast about what to do if your highest performer needs time off. Number 1, develop your cross-training profile for each person on the team. And as you identify who the backup person will be, Also identify who the backup to the backup person will be. Build in cross-training activities each month, whether you anticipate anyone needing time away or not. Learning something new can be very motivating for your team, and they'll feel great about seeing the new capabilities being developed across your agile team. Number 2, during your one-to-ones, listen for signs that your team members may have challenges outside of work that could lead them to needing some time away. Now, you'll not do this in any kind of probing way, but rather be prepared to listen to what they're comfortable with sharing and then reinforce that you can work with them to come up with a plan if need be. And number 3, what if it's you that needs the time off? Why not grab my free resource designed just for you? It's called Go Ahead and Take Time Away from Your Business. This workbook will help you uncover everything you need to set your team up for success while you are away and give you the confidence to head out on maternity leave, an extended vacation, or to focus on a family member that needs you. The link is in the episode description, or you can simply pop over to the website to get it and see the other resources that are there available for you too. You know, leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.